are to, in a nutshell, bring people who have just recently lost their sight from a world where they couldn't function or didn't feel they could function into a life that is definitely not the way it used to be, but I guess a more normal way of living. They realize that blindness doesn't stop them from living.
And what does your class do to help out?
Well, what I do is I just taught a class this year on talking gadgets, and in essence what those are is tape recorders, talking watches, the talking book program, talking scales for people that want to know their weight and don't have to look at the scale, that sort of thing. And what they are is just tools for the blind that the blind can use. Like a sighted person, they can look down at that scale if they want to get on in the morning, or they can read a book. They don't have to use a cassette recorder. Well, a tape recorder for a blind person, a special one that comes from Helena, allows that blind person to be able to use or read a book the same as, the average person would, I guess.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Anything else, sir?
What do you want to say?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have anything else other than I think it's a good program. Hope my class can continue next year.
I live in Great Falls, Montana, and I've been hearing something of this organization for several years, and my eyes have been failing me for several years. So I tried it out once or twice, and they followed it up, and they invited me to come to this meeting, I guess you could call it. And it was an eye-opener to me, no pun intended. And I made some acquaintances here that I would have never made otherwise. But I was particularly struck by the consideration that each person held for somebody else. And it's like John Scott said, it's one organization that he really wants to help, and I feel that way too.
My name is Lori Gwilly, and I'm from Churchill. And what I've gotten out of this program is that if I do end up going blind, there's not the end of the world, that I can still go on. And they've been teaching me Braille and how to get around with a white cane. So for my night mobility and travel on the college campus. And they've orientated me to the campus to where I can get around as a confident citizen of this campus. I'm not having to fumble around and look like an idiot. They've been teaching me Braille. And the most that I've gotten out of this is I've been able to visit with the people here and understand where they're coming from and understand their ideas. And they've given me a lot of information on how to get along with the blindness and that it's not the end of the world.
Oh, now just as he turns the damn camera on, Helen's grabbing my arm. I don't know who she is, Linda. I never saw this woman before in my life.
Tell me who you are.
Hi, my name is Dan Cohen. I'm an orientation mobility specialist.
And what do you think the purpose of this program is, Dan?
Well, Aaron, I'm glad you asked. The program, as I see it, is designed to facilitate independence in the visually impaired and blind population here in the state of Montana. There's a big lag in the services provided by the State Department of Rehabilitation in the itinerant services. And by grouping everybody together here, they're able to acquire those skills necessary for them to maintain or to regain their independence. Additionally, by having other visually impaired people here besides themselves, it gives them the opportunity to bounce ideas off the other people to see, one, how they dealt with it, and also so that they can feel that they're not the only ones out there. all too often there's the problem that people who come to these programs come from an area where they're the only visually impaired person that they know. Especially with the adventitious population, they're the first blind and or visually impaired person that they ever know in their life. And it's important for them to be able to have other people to relate to, in addition to having all the training that they receive from the different specialties offered.
I see. And what do you do personally to enhance the goals of the program?
I'm one of the orientation mobility specialists, one of the 4 that are here this summer. I see my primary goal as being teaching the individuals to travel in a safe, smooth, efficient manner in the present travel environments and try to anticipate future environments that they may need to travel in to give them the skills for that, as well as to anticipate any additional losses they may have with their visual system and our physical systems. Additionally, I've been trying to focus on addressing some of the social skills issues that are involved with the younger population. And we had a couple areas in the discussion class that we addressed that, as well as an evening outing in which we explored some different situations.
Orientation program for the blind. This is my 4th year. 2 years I was a student, and the last 2 years I have volunteered for the Exerswing program. There's nothing like this in the whole world, I'm sure, because this is an opportunity for the visually inconvenienced people to come for a 4-week course in any phase that they choose. We offer many different things to learn, Braille and mobility and so forth. They come with the idea that they can't do anything. And we have 2 words here that we do not use, can't and old, because you're never too old to learn. My program that I have been teaching is Exerswing. And it's designed for the blind, because as we lose our vision, we lose our balance and our coordination. And that's what all my exercises are about, balance and coordination. Some of them come in and cannot get halfway down to the floor, but by the time they leave, they're touching maybe their ankles or maybe all the way to the floor. We have a lot of fun in it. And I have not had one single student tell me they didn't enjoy it so far.
Okay.
I'm a instructor in the shop area for the School for the Blind. I think that my class generally improves the confidence of the students to the point where they think that they can do stuff on their own. It's not to make them proficient woodworkers, but it's to make them feel totally at ease with doing stuff themselves. I don't know what else I'm supposed to be saying here.
I can't look
Okay.
around.
Press N for no. Return. You must cross the river in order to continue. The river at this point is currently 228 feet across and 2.1 feet deep in the middle. Spacebar.
That's a better.
Attempt to ford the river is 1. Caulk the wagon and float it across is 2.
Can you float that deep wagon like that?
2 feet of water.
I don't
Probably
think
not.
so.
Better
Because you got a
try.
lot of weight. You
Try
better
number
have to
one.
try fording.
I'm surprised we made it this far with this group. Okay.
For you the next time we're on the
Says,
phone.
why does it take 3 women with PMS to turn in a light bulb? Screw in a light bulb.
Why is that?
Because it just does.
Hey, Elmer. You get wet now?
Yes. What's that?
Oh. Did you get wet enough? Or you need to get
I don't know. If I was a dog, I'd lick myself probably.
Some of our staff have been with us several years. Some we can't get rid of. Because the sidewalks are all beat up because nobody can get to the pickle barrel anymore. And if Pat and AJ would just do it by the bushes, the program would be much smoother.
Ever mentioned anything to you about big pickles?
He has never mentioned big pickles to me.
Never.
Never.
How about small pickles?
Peanut butter and pickles.
Oh, that's right. Pat did go with us to McDonald's.
And what did Pat have?
He had 2 apple pies.
2 pies?
2 pies.
Take a pizza pie.
They were mega junk food. And Betty Gackle went back for seconds.
We're not boys.
But I call mine sex. Now, sex has been very embarrassing to me. Like the time I went to City Hall to renew his dog license. I told the clerk I would like to have a license for sex. He said, I'd like to have one too. Then I said, but you see, this is a dog. He said he didn't care what she looked like. Then I said, but you don't understand. I've had sex since I was 9 years old. He said that I must have been quite a kid. When I got married and went on my honeymoon, I took my dog with me. I told the motel clerk that I wanted a room for my wife and me and a special room for sex. He said every room in the place was for sex. I said, you don't understand. Sex keeps me awake at night. The clerk said, me too. One day I entered sex in a contest, but before the competition began, the dog ran away. Another contestant asked me why I was just standing there looking around. I told him I was planning to have sex in the contest. He told me that I should have sold tickets to my own show. But you don't understand, I said. I had hoped to have sex on TV. He called me a show-off. When my wife and I separated, he went to court to file for custody of the dog. I said, Your Honor, I had sex before I was married. The judge said, me too. Then I told him that after I married, sex left me. He said, me too. Last night, sex ran off again. I spent hours looking around town for him. A policeman came over to me and said, what are you doing with Allie at 4 o'clock in the morning? I said, I'm looking for sex. My case comes up Friday.
Son, go. What did say ditto?
Hey, Pat, what was that about slipping pickles?
That comes in our dating class.
My concept of what this program is about is that this is an opportunity to give back one of the things that people who have lost their vision, it's an opportunity to give them back something that has, can we start this over? That has, can we start this over?
Hey, AJ.
Isn't he a little close for you?
Yeah, he is, actually.
But I'm going to be awake, alert, and my voice is going to carry some dim and vigor.
And are you going to talk about pickles and Bibles?
No. I can't do that. Not knowing who's going to see this video. If I thought it was just a kind of a fun, loving, hippie type video, yeah, sure, I'd be glad to say that on there. But
When John DeHaas sees it, oh no.
There's one of my board members. What am I going to do now?
We could give a real evil laugh, Pat, and that'd fix him up, right?
Did you interview Mary Jo?
Yes, he did.
Did you interview Sharon?
Yeah.
Oh, Sharon, here's one more question for you. Has Pat ever mentioned pickles to you at all?
Well, as cooking instructor, I believe he has on several occasions. He wanted to know if they wanted to be diced, sliced, or priced.
I'd lick myself probably.
The Blind goes a long way in helping people deal with blindness and loss of vision, that is. News 7's Jill Rickett spent some time with those involved in the 43rd annual program and has more.
A year ago, Benny Longy couldn't have read this newspaper ad. But today, thanks to this closed-circuit TV and the orientation program that told him about the machine, Benny reads the paper every day.
When I got here last year, it was such a change for me, especially getting around, because I never did use a white cane. I never seen one of these TVs, and there's just so many little gadgets that I didn't know that were available and now I could read my own mail, and I get around a lot better too.
This is Benny's second time to be a part of the summer orientation program for the blind, held at this dormitory on MSU's campus. He, along with 30 other blind and partially sighted adults in the 4-week program, will learn everything from computers to how to use a white cane. There's even a chance to touch up on some craft skills.
But if it won't, I'll put something else up there. But I thought maybe I could get it to stay up there, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to be working.
And while learning new skills is key, the program's director says forming new friendships is the most important.
There's a lot of apprehension at first in our program, understandably, and a lot of disorientation at first. Once everything falls into a routine, by the end of the program, everyone is really enjoying everything.
And enjoy they do.
Dancing. I used to like to dance quite a bit, and hadn't done any of that until I got here. And they taught lessons at here twice now, and then a few of us went out to Willie's and danced.
But for 28-year-old Terry Berger, it's more than just fun and dancing. It's new confidence and newfound hope.
Everybody I've talked to, even young and old, their outlook on life is really good, even better than most people with sight. I found that, and it helped me have a lot better outlook on life too.
Jill Rickett, News 7.
And I'm from Bozeman, Montana. And I have been attending the School for the Blind, and I am very, very thrilled by it. I have received so much that it's really a little hard to tell it all. Before I came to the school, I was terribly depressed because I couldn't read my mail, I couldn't write checks, I couldn't function, I couldn't cook in my kitchens. There was just so many things I could not do. And I just thought, well, if this is what life is, why go on? And then I came to this school, and I have gotten so much enthusiasm about going on and living my life to its best ability with all the things I've learned here. I can now do some reading, I can read my mail, I can take care of myself, and I've learned all of those things right here in this school to make life more pleasant for me. I don't feel like I need to ask the help of my daughter or anyone else, that I am self-sufficient now. I don't know what else you want me to say.
And how are you?
Tell me what this program means to you. What do you see as its purpose?
This program, it's been an incredible couple of weeks, and let's see, what it has meant is seeing a group of people get together and learn skills and gain confidence and learn about the camaraderie that can make vision loss bearable. And it was all done with a lot of fun, and I think that was the best part of it.
And what does your class do to bolster that program?
Well, I had the privilege of teaching ABL, Activities of Daily Living, which is learning all the little tricks and techniques that can get you through every day after having lost some vision. And it's a pleasure to teach it because people can put it to use right away. As soon as they learn something, people will often go home and be able to put it to use right that day. Just the little tricks that make life just a little bit easier. Who am I?
Yes.
I'm Gretchen Good.
And where are you from?
I'm a rehabilitation teacher from Brattleboro, Vermont. But for now,
And I'm from Billings, and I'm the hostess this year at the program. I think this is a really good program because it teaches people to come here and try to be as self-independent as they were before they lost their vision. I know it's hard for a lot of these people to pick up and come here and stay for a whole month, night and day with these people, but you form kind of a bond, and you're with people who have the same problems that you do, and you learn how to cope with them a little bit better and adjust, and before the program is over, everybody's become pretty good friends, and you realize that you're not alone in your disability. One of the main things that I do is provide breakfast downstairs in the morning for the people who don't want to walk over to the student union. And then I provide the snacks that morning break and afternoon break. And we usually have a pretty good variety. We have fruit and crackers and cheese and coffee and cold drinks. And then if anybody's sick or needs extra blankets, I can get the nurse. I try to make them comfortable in their rooms and just all around see that everybody is okay. And I really like this program, and I hope to be back next year.
Got out of Billings. This program has been very, very enlightening to me. It's helped me understand what is ahead for me to do if I have to do it. Some of these people have been very, very good examples of what can be done. And when we get to feeling that this is going to be bad for us and that's bad for us, we look around and see somebody doing the things that we know we're going to have to do in the future. And I really think that this program is something that every person that has a visual problem should be inquiring and looking into. It's one of the most important things in their life to follow through and get involved in this deal. My thing that I do here is help. I'm a helper. I work with the different people in different departments and help them with whatever I can do. I'm the mailman also. I go up to the post office, get the letters in the mail, and deliver them to these individuals. The things that I do, I just do the best I can. And I enjoy being here, and I think that anyone that can come and be here should do it.
Okay. And my concept of what this program is about is that we give back something that the students have lost. And that something is not their vision, but rather the control that they've lost over their life. We teach them techniques and give them methods where they can regain some of that control and lead a life that was more like what they had before the vision loss.
All right, and what do you do, Dennis, that enhances that?
I'm an orientation and mobility instructor, and I'm also an ADL instructor. Now, O&M is techniques of travel and knowing your place in the environment and how to get from one location to another in a safe and efficient manner. ADL stands for Activities of Daily Living, and we teach real functional and practical types of skills, teach techniques, teach how to use normal equipment or adapted equipment to accomplish, just as it says, activities of daily living. And that can include personal care, personal hygiene, cooking, writing skills, communication kinds of skills. And there are many, many different areas, but those are some of them.
I was the computer and O&M instructor at the 1991 summer program of the Montana Association for the Blind, which is a summer program designed to help especially newly blind individuals learn some skills to cope with their loss of vision. And it usually does an extremely good job in various areas. We give canes to those who we think can travel effectively with a cane. We give support canes to those people who need a little more assistance in getting up and down stairs or maneuverability. And I happen to teach the Apple computer. David Bell taught the IBM computer. And we went through some software programs and taught people how to write checks, keep bank statements, do some word processing, how to keep what they have written and edit it and make corrections on a computer. And then when they got done learning that, we also played some games, different kinds of computer games that talk.
James, and I'm from Bozeman, and been at summer school about 9 times now, and I'm the director. And the program means a lot to me, as it does to many of the folks who attend and who participate as a staff. What it does, I think, is to plant seeds and help people acquire skills and learn to adjust to loss of vision, and to build a lot of social support from the friendships that are born, and meeting people who have similar conditions, whether it be a similar eye condition or maybe it could be many other things, but in terms of vision loss, that's what it means here. What I try to do as director is to facilitate what I can to sort of let the staff do their thing in terms of professionalism, and also create a schedule and an atmosphere that is conducive to good learning and good, I guess I'd want to say, just good community. That's what I feel strongly about. 4 weeks isn't long enough to do everything we set out to do, but it gets us started, and sometimes people come back another year, sometimes people come back 3 years later, maybe vision has changed again.
Minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, 35 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 55 minutes.
What are you doing, Brian?
Setting the alarm. Alarm off. It's
So go off.
It's 1:57 p.m. Alarm. It's 1:57 p.m. Alarm. It's 1:57 p.m.
Are to, in a nutshell, bring people who have just recently lost their sight from a world where they couldn't function or didn't feel they could function into a life that is definitely not the way it used to be, but I guess a more normal way of living. They realize that blindness doesn't stop them from living.
And what does your class do to help out?
Well, what I do is I just taught a class this year on talking gadgets, and in essence what those are is tape recorders, talking watches, the talking book program, talking scales for people that want to know their weight and don't have to look at the scale, that sort of thing. And what they are is just tools for the blind, that the blind can use. That, like a sighted person, they can look down at that scale if they want to get on it in the morning, or they can read a book. They don't have to use a cassette recorder. Well, a tape recorder for a blind person, a special one that comes from Helena, allows that blind person to be able to use or read a book the same as, the average person would, I guess.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Anything else, sir?
What do you want to say?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have anything else other than I think it's a good program. Hope my class can continue next year.
I live in Great Falls, Montana, and I've been hearing something of this organization for several years, and my eyes have been paying me for several years. So I tried it out once or twice, and they followed it up, and they invited me to come to this meeting, I guess you could call it, and it was an eye-opener to me, no pun intended, and I made some acquaintances here that I would have never made otherwise, but I was particularly struck by the consideration that each person held for somebody else. And It's like John Scott said, it's one organization that he really wants to help, and I feel that way too.
My name is Lori Gwilly, and I'm from Churchill. And what I've gotten out of this program is that if I do end up going blind, there's not the end of the world, that I can still go on. And they've been teaching me Braille and how to get around with a white cane. So for my night mobility and travel on the college campus. And they've orientated me to the campus to where I can get around as a confident citizen of this campus. I'm not having to fumble around and look like an idiot. They've been teaching me Braille. And the most I've gotten out of this is I've been able to visit with the people here and understand where they're coming from and understand their ideas. And they've given me a lot of information on how to get along with the blindness and that it's not the end of the world.
Oh, now just as he turns the damn camera on, Helen's grabbing my arm. I don't know who she is, Linda. I never saw this woman before in my life.